Hey guys, GaugeX2Z, also known as Jason Scott, and today we're going to be setting up a stretchy arm joint with elbow locking that globally scales without double transforming and has the ability to move the pivot of the global scale group, and it will scale correctly. And we'll be able to group that upon group that upon group that, and it will not double transform. This is also a setup that does not require any mel scripting, and it does not require any condition nodes or multiply divide nodes or any utility nodes of any kind. This is a out-of-the-box, rough and dirty system that I would call this the quick and dirty way to create this effect. This would be useful for when you want the character to have this behavior and you don't really care how it gets there. I don't know if I would use this in a production rig unless we were kind of shucked on time, but it's an interesting concept, and I think a lot of people that are on their way to learning how to rig will probably be able to use this kind of a concept because it's going to give you the behavior you want with a lot less nodes and a little bit cleaner, and it's going to do it without having to know all the kind of different nodes and tools and utility things and that kind of thing. So I'm going to go and show you how we do this. Keep in mind that when you see me do this, this is not a precise way to do it. Okay, we're basically going to eyeball to get our stretch, which is not really the best way to do things, but to stay in line with the not using utility nodes and whatever, I wanted to build this completely out of the box. So, keeping all that in mind, let's jump right into it. So I like to go into the front view, hold down X with the joint tool, and place a joint. I then hold down the space bar, click on the top, and I go into the top view, and without holding down any key, I pick, let's say like right here. And that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we'll go ahead and place this right here and right there. Now I held down X so that that all matched correctly. So now we're going to go ahead and rename this to left shoulder. So let's spell that correctly. Okay, you're just being stupid now. There. Alright, I'm going to be kind of blowing through this also. Keep in mind this is really simple stuff. How to set up an arm, IK arm. I will explain what I'm doing, but it's not really that... I'm not going to be going into terrible detail because if you're going to be setting up a really complex arm like this, you should be good enough to know what you're doing. So we're going to duplicate this chain, and I'm going to select hierarchy. I'm going to go to radius, and I'm going to increase the radius. And then I'm going to select this, and I'm going to go to modify, prefix hierarchy names, and we're going to call this the bind. Okay, so now we have bind left shoulder. Take the 1 off, and let's hide it. Okay, this is left shoulder. Let's go ahead and modify, prefix hierarchy names. Stretch, stretchy, that's fine. Okay, cool. So now we have this whole stretchy thing here. We're going to go to skeleton, IK handle tool, option box, RP solver, sticky is off. Grab here, and go over here. And then we're going to rename this to left arm, IKRP. Let's go ahead and test it. When I pull backwards, notice that it does not wobble or go in a weird direction. You can test that in the front view by making sure that notice that that elbow lines up directly with the shoulder. That's exactly what should happen. So we know that the IK is working as it should. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and create a locator. And we're going to rename this locator to left arm loc. Okay, I'm going to hit Control C. I'm going to group that. I'm going to select here, hit Control V, and add a group. These are little tricks that I do to save time when grouping stuff and how everything works there. Okay, so let's go to the actual loc, and let's bring the local scale down. Let's take this IKRP solver and let's parent it to this. So now this object now controls this. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a locator. Once again, we'll call this the left arm PV. Let's grab this, hit Control C, Control G, hit Control V, and we'll add a group to it. And then we will take that and we will V-snap that to this joint, and we will drag it back in space, let's say to about there. That's good. Okay. we'll do there. Let's not go too crazy with it. Okay. Notice that the PV is zeroed out, and we're good to go. This object will go here, constrain, pull vector. Okay. So now we have a basic IK arm setup. Notice that the locator is zeroed out, and we can go back by hitting 0. Okay. Let's go ahead and make a control object for that. So create nerves primitives circle. Okay. And let's again name that to left arm, actually left IK arm control. Let's control C that, group that, control V, follow, control G, group. Okay, so now we should have, if we look at our outliner, we should have the control group, the follow group, and then we have the actual object. Cool. We have this IK control group, and we can go ahead and parent that here. Notice that we don't have any weird rotation. Zero this out, snaps it in, shift P that out, and that means that it's oriented correctly. But I want it to look like this, so I'm going to use the shape node. I'm going to play with the vertices to get it to rotate up. The reason I did that is I want the X to still face forwards, because the joint X still faces forwards. If you notice, the X is here, the Z is here, the Y is here, and I'm able to manage to keep that same rotation. If I were to actually use the object mode and rotate that up so that it looks correct, then it would have the Z facing forwards, and this would be where the Y is, and I don't want that. I want the Y to stay as the Y is there. So now that is oriented correctly. So let's go ahead and grab this control group here, and let's group it one more time, and we'll call this the CO control group. Okay. And let's see here. I think we will add this to the rig group. So we'll call this the rig group. Alright, and we'll leave that for now. We'll make that a joint group at the end. Alright, so we'll take this object, we'll take this object here, and constrain parent. Okay, so now this object is a proper IK system. It works. Alright, cool. Now, we want to stretch this out. So what we're going to do, here comes, up to this point everything has been good. You could use this for a production rig. Now what we're about to do is kind of a quick and dirty way of doing this. Okay. The traditional way to do this is to take a measure tool and go from here to here and get the exact distance. We're not going to do that, okay? Because we're going to create this effect and it's going to look right, but it's not going to be exact, okay? We're trying to save time and resources. Alright, so I know that 0.048 stretches it out. Let's try, we're just going to kind of play with numbers. Let's try 2. 0.042. Notice that it's still kind of stretched out like that. Let's try 1. Okay, notice that there's a little bit of a change there. Okay, so let's try 2 again. It goes to there. How about 3? Nothing. Alright, so 0.042 is, according to eyeballing, about where that thing goes straight. Alright, so at 0.042, that's when we're going to make our move. So, let's go ahead and select the elbow and the wrist. Animate, set driven key, set. Load driven, translate X, load driver, translate X, and for this 0.042 key. There, okay. Now let's take this and put this at 20, and once again here comes the fun part. So I think we can go ahead and just to get close, we can go to 18. And now, as I said before, we are kind of, because notice what happens if we go too far. See how it does some weird bendy thing? We don't want that. So we're going to kind of have to eyeball this again. So we're trying to get lined up as best we can with that locator. That's actually pretty decent there. Okay. So then we're going to hit key. Now when we do this, you'll notice what happens when we try to do this. You're going to have a little bit of a slowdown. See how it's not following exactly? So here's how we're going to fix this. We're going to grab this object and this object. we're going to go grab the translate x's here, and we're going to make that linear. And then we're going to go to pervs post infinity linear, view infinity, and we see that that goes off into infinity. So now, if you look and see, if we were to zero this out, you see how it behaves correctly, just as a normal IK would, except when it goes out, it stretches. And that is really the effect that we get when we do that really complex multiply divide node, you know, and so on and so forth setup. So now we're going to go ahead and create elbow locking, which is actually pretty simple. We're going to go ahead and go to the bind arm and unhide it. Okay, and you'll see how we do this really quickly here. We're going to grab this stretchy elbow here. We're going to grab this PV here, and then we're just going to grab this one, and we're going to constrain point with no offset, add. Notice that it goes in between. Okay, and let's turn off the PV, so it's 0. Okay, and then while we're here, let's go ahead and grab this, go here and constrain orient, maintain offset is on, add. Okay, grab here, constrain point, make sure that maintain offset is on, add, constrain orient. Same thing, grab the little one, grab the big one, constrain point, constrain orient. Okay, now we can actually take the stretchy and hide it. Okay, and if you look, what actually happens now, let's actually make that control a bit bigger since that is our main skeleton. If you look, you will notice that we get stretchy arm. Okay, and if we were to go here, modify, add attributes, elbow snap, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, add, and FK forearm 0, 1, 0, add, close. Okay. So we go to animate, set driven key sets, load driver, go to elbow snap, grab this object here, hit F, load driven, key, elbow snap goes to 1, that goes to 0, that goes to 1, key, and you will now notice that if you were to set up that blend adder node setup, that is the behavior that we get. Okay, so now notice that the elbow is locked in place. Okay, so now what we need to do is be able to set it so that it works. Let's go ahead and increase the local scale of that so that it makes a little more sense. Okay, so now we need to be able to set it up so that when we go here and we lock this elbow in place, the forearm will do what it's supposed to do. So here's how we do that. Remember before that on our control object, we had the main group, and then we had follow. So let's grab this object, go here, constrain, parent, making sure offset is on, add. Okay, so what does that do? So we're in FK, elbow is locked down, and we have now the ability to work in kind of an FK mode while we're in IK with the elbow locked down, which is exactly what we wanted. So let's undo the 0 there. Let's go ahead and be able to turn that on or off. Windows, Journal Editors, Connection Editor. Let's go to FK forearm. Let's grab this right here, and we will connect that into the constraint, the parent constraint. So FK forearm is connected to that, so 0 and 1 relationship will work. And let's go ahead and 0 that out. So now notice that nothing happens here. If I turn this here, turn FK forearm on, it snaps into place, which is exactly what we want. Now the beauty of this whole system is now that even with this built like this, we're ready to go ahead and set this up. So we can take this here, group that, and call that the joints group. We can take all 3 of these groups, group that, and call that the master arm group. Actually, we'll call that the left arm group. Notice that we can translate, rotate, and we can scale with no weird double transforms going on. Okay, we can take this object, 0 that out, 0 all that out, That's zeroed out. Once again, you'll notice it works. We can actually group that object, and let's say we move the pivot over to here, and notice that it scales from a completely different area, again with no double transforms. We can group that again, move the pivot there, and again we continue to get correct scaling. And we don't need any nodes, we don't need any multiply divide nodes to normalize the scale or anything like that, and it works. So let's undo all that, and there you go. That is a elbow locking stretchy arm setup that did not require any nodes, and it works, and it has the behavior that we wanted, and we can plug this group right into our hierarchy of our rig, and it's ready to go. So if you guys have any questions, concerns, obviously, as I said, I'm well aware that it's not precise and that it's not 100% exact and that we kind of eyeballed the stretch. But, you know, I think that kind of as a different way to set everything up, it works pretty well, and it gives you the behavior that you're looking for very quickly and with a lot less nodes. If I were to take this apart, including all shape nodes, this is how big this rig is. So, as I said, any questions, concerns, please let me know. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope that it may be of some use to someone. Thank you very much.